Hey guys, Anthony 4x4Diesel here. I'm getting sick and tired of these crappy bolt-on recovery points. Well, actually, we got sick and tired of this rubbish. We got sick and tired of it bloody years ago, okay? And you're not allowed to have an opinion on it because, what would I know? I mean, I'm just a vehicle technician with decades of experience, but we've got all these people that haven't got any qualifications trying to tell us these are tie-down points. Wake up, Australia. Wake up, the world. These are not, see this? This is not a tie-down point. It's not pointing downwards. It's about 16 mil thick steel, I don't know, something like that. It's got 360 degree welds, front and rear, ×2, around the back as well. That is never coming out of the chassis. As I've said before, and it's clearly demonstrated in some videos, if you pull that hard enough, it will rip the whole chassis off the front of the vehicle. It will tear off somewhere back here where there's some welds or something like that at the weakest point. This is not the weakest point. This is not a tie-down point. This is the point where you need to wake up and stop saying and writing that because you're wrong. It's not a tie-down point. No, they don't call it a recovery point. They don't rate it. They're not going to put themselves, they just don't. It's called a toe point, right? So you can say, oh, that's for whatever you like. But you know what? There's one there. There's another one over this side. And there's heaps of strength in them, and if you use a bridle, there's even more. And all the experts and the four-wheel drive clubs and whatever, they can tell you whatever they want and what you need and whatever. They're dangerous. Now these things are dangerous as well. I'll tell you why they're dangerous. Okay, you got a piece of steel that's about 10 mil thick, and it's got it's rated, and it's got a working load of whatever. It's only, working load limit 3250. So you've only got 6.5 ton you're allowed to pull on it, right? Now, this steel's stronger than 6.5 ton, but you know what? The chassis is not, right? And that's why you don't even pull this one that hard, or you will rip the front off the vehicle. These colourful things here, they're a waste of time, they're a waste of money, they're dangerous, and yes, they need to be fitted correctly. If people don't use the right bolts in the right places and the right torque specifications, and then use them the right way. See here, this is welded. If you were to pull it sideways a little bit, it's going to make very little difference. You pull this one sideways a little bit. Well, recently you saw a photo we put up that was shared from an engineer, and there's plenty of, we see this all the time. We just don't bother going into it because it's controversial and these companies want to sell you these things, and a lot of you are brainwashed. Like with many other things, it's time to wake up, use your brain and understand these welds there into the chassis are so much stronger, and stronger than the chassis. There's no need for any of this dangerous rubbish that you can only pull forwards on and you should use a bridle on and all these things should happen. All colourful, very pretty, aren't they? Oh, like some red or yellow or orange or green or blue. What colour would you like? We have all the colours of the rainbow. Anyway, right, what's going on here? Who knows? Probably a sideways pull, but that bolt you can see, there's not much left holding that. I don't know if that stretch bent, it came loose or whatever. Look at this, it's just atrocious. Look at that, that bolt, I don't know if that's broken or ripped off, broken, whatever. It's come in, it's damaged some of the, you can see it's done some damage to parts of the TGM underplate, bull bar, whatever. So it's actually caused damage. It's been dangerous. Now, think about this. If those bolts do break, if they do break, is there any such thing as ever having a faulty bolt? I can tell you there is, right? There is. So let's say in the manufacture of the bolt, and there were some hollow areas in there with some air and whatever in the manufacturer, and they were faulty, right? But you talked them up and they were okay and whatever, and then you yank on it, however hard you think you're invincible because you've got these fancy yellow or red or green or blue, whatever colour you wanted, things on the front of your vehicle, and you think you're invincible and you're just going for it, and they come ripping off. That thing right there, that is a bloody missile, okay? That is a missile. See this thing here? It's not coming off. I just about guarantee it myself. I can't guarantee it because, disclaimer, you do whatever you want. You need to do your common sense, or if you haven't got any, you can do your four-wheel drive training, you can trust them. You decide who you trust. But I say to people, I try and get you thinking again. Use your common sense. Have a good look at these before you waste any money on these. What's going to happen with these? They're getting removed, mate, right? I said, mate, just get rid of them. They're dangerous. You can see what's happened, what it all looks like. There's too many variables with a product that's bolted on. As I said, if you really insist on one, Kaon, Kaon, kaon.com.au, they're developing some at the moment, and you're going to have a bit of a giggle when they come out because it actually sort of utilises what's already there as well, right? So, but if you insist that you've got to have one, at least have a decent one. And I believe their products, as we always support them because their products are awesome. They listen, Australian made, design quality, awesome company and people. So we support them. wait for theirs, put theirs on if you're going to do it, but in my opinion, you don't need one anyway. I'm just saying, if you insist on it, or your four-wheel drive club says you have to have one, or someone you're going on trips with, I suggest maybe find someone else to go on trips with, because if you need to pull a car that hard, you even need to worry about something's going to happen with these, you're with the wrong people. You shouldn't be getting into that situation in the first place, and you should be using your brain again, just like you are now, hopefully, to think about what's the safest, easiest, most efficient, best way to get out of that situation. And look, we've got some scrub up there we're going to clean out as well. There'll be more videos on this vehicle. I thought you might like that one. Let's have some people are curious. Yeah, it's all coatings flaked off. They're going rusty underneath. Just probably a piece of mild steel. I don't know. 2 bolts, you know, not exciting. It hasn't added any extra strength to anything because the bull bar mounting hardware actually bolts on the side, as you can see, and behind it, and it goes right up to there, even further than those points. So in fact, bull bars sometimes add strength to that part of the chassis. It doesn't need it because you shouldn't be pulling that hard, but if you insist on testing and you want to rip the front off a Prado, then having those, see that black plate underneath from the bull bar, right? ARB has similar, TGM, whatever. If you add that, you're probably going to get a bit more out of it before it tears off, and it might not tear off before there, then it'll tear off back here where the first weld is or something like that, you know. Who knows? It's, you know, it's only happened a few times. We're talking the extremes around the world. There's a couple of YouTube videos showing one he's in the sand dunes, he's ripped the front off the car, and another one, I think he's on a beach somewhere, and someone takes off like a rocket, and it just shears, rips the whole front using these points. They don't go anywhere. They are still connected. As I said, 360-degree welds times 1. You can count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's like, I'm going, that's, mate, I could hang up 2 Prados by that. If I had a roof high enough and we winched one up by this hook here, it would hang on it, and I could connect another Prado behind it. That equals 5 ton. Times 2, that's 10 ton. That means I've just rated them higher than that. You can do that if you like, if you've got a high roof factory and you want to hang up a couple of Prados or however you want to test it. You can send your vehicle away to places that can do this stuff, and they will connect onto there, they'll load it up, they'll pull on it to 10 ton for 10 minutes and go, or whatever the specification is for their testing, and they'll go, yep, that holds 10 ton, and I'd pretty well say, I believe, let me just, you know, it's hard to say with a bull bar. I need a factory stock car to use my common sense, you know, that natural ability to think that some people still have. Think. I mean, you know, you might not mechanically, or, you know, might not have that natural ability. Everybody's got their own personal abilities, right? But I just believe people have got so much more potential if you start thinking, right? This is probably some of the thickest steel right there. I haven't measured it, but that's somewhere between, I reckon, about 2.5 millimeters thick. It's not 3 millimeters thick, right? So this plate here, that plate there, that's 3 millimeters thick, and it's thinner than that, right? And when you go further back on the chassis, I think I've seen areas before. No, it looks the same up there. So I'm going, it's about it's going to be whatever steel comes in, guys, 2.2, 2.4, I don't know. I'm not a manufacturing person, but that's how thick it is, right? You've got a 16 mil diameter thick round section welded through at 4 points. It is so much stronger than that 2.5 mil thick steel, okay? That's, you know, welded and wrapped around and whatever, but it goes up. It's proven there's enough pieces there joined on and welded that that's strong. They haven't put those there pointing forwards, one at each side of the vehicle, pointing forward, slightly down for your ease of use, whatever, right? When they bring cars on ships, they don't tie them down at 2 points at the front. They'll use that to tie it down, but it's not a tie down point. It's not what it's there for, but of course you can use that. Now, we don't work on these passenger vehicles, but we've seen tie down points on vehicles for decades. And if you call this a tie down point, you need to do an automotive apprenticeship. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope it got you thinking. That's a bada boom, bada bing. I don't know what else you want to know here. It's your call. I don't really care what you do. When I see cars come in and I go with these on there, I just go, mate, I just think waste of money. People got money to waste, or they're just listening to you just got to watch careful on that social media, what you watch. Our information's genuine. I'm not going to tell you any crap you don't need. We're not going to tell you something good that's not. Sometimes things change, very rarely, but sometimes things change, so you need to be tuned in, subscribe with the bell on, and liked and following our Facebook pages on our groups so you don't miss the announcements if we go, hey, actually, look, we were wrong, this has changed. We actually said these racks, they only have a very small sweat there. You don't need to do anything. And then sometime at a later date, oh, actually, no, you should do this because that'll prevent that. So things change. Stay tuned. Look at all the mud up in there. This is the one that was covered in mud, right? I don't know if this happened on that trip, possibly, you know, getting in that mud, you know, kind of get yourself stuck there, possibly. And sometimes you're in a situation where you can't go straight forwards. That's the thing. Sometimes you can't go straight forward. You've got to have a slight angle. And I tell you what, my money on my vehicles and my recoveries that have always been done using this one, and they're always just a light, more of a tow than a snatch anyway, or a light snatch, and never had a problem. We've been on heaps of trips for many years. We've seen Prados, not in our groups, stuck in some nasty bogs, and then those GU patrols, bop, 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 bop. You know, they back the strap up to 5 meters and they take off like a rocket, and they absolutely reef on these. One line, not a bridle, and I've never seen one broken, come off, or any damage. I've seen some horrific recoveries using these. So from my experience seeing them, I'd rate them to 10 tonne, you know what I mean? But officially I'm not, disclaimer, you know. You decide what you want to do and what's safe and what's not. I say you better get the shovel out and you better think before you drive into that crap, because you might not get out of it. Thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, catch you on the next one.